So these blackberries I've got here, there's a pound of blackberries that are freshly picked today locally where we live. And when I say a pound, anyone who's metric, that's about 400 grams. I'm going to attempt to make blackberry jam today. It's the first time I've ever done it. My mother used to make blackberry jam, and my mother-in-law did also, and so did my grandmother. So I'm hoping that I can make a fair attempt at this today. So we've got a pound of blackberries, or 400 grams, and equal amount of sugar. So a pound of sugar, granulated sugar. Now that doesn't sound terribly healthy, but we all know that jam tastes really good, so it's probably worth it for a little indulgence. I've got my jam pots ready, and I'm going to sterilise these like so. Won't be a second. So I'm just going to sterilise these with boiling water. Just a little boiling water in each. Give them a shake. Do that to all three. Make sure it kills any unwanted nasties that are in there. I put the oven on 80 degrees. I'll explain why later. So that's my jars sterilised. So the process is quite simple. You pour the sugar into the blackberries, and you take half a lemon and squeeze the lemon juice in on top. I'm going to take the pips out. Now I would use a lemon squeezing glass. I used to have a glass lemon squeezer somewhere, but I couldn't put my hands on it this morning, so I'm using just my fingers to squeeze this today. And I've got clean hands because I've just washed them. Get all the juice out. So it's just blackberries, sugar, and half a lemon squeezed in. You stir this, you don't add any water. Just stir those all together. And then I'm going to simmer this on the hob for 10 minutes, and then stir, and then simmer for another 10 minutes. You can do this in the microwave, so 10 minutes on a fairly high temperature, give it a stir, and then put back in for another 10 minutes. Okay, let's put this on the hob. Got something else cooking on here, so just ignore that. Put that on. Okay. I'll come back to you in 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes has passed. I've got my blackberry and sugar simmering here on a low to medium heat. Now what I'm going to do, in my preheated oven, preheated to 80 degrees, I've got the jam jars, and I'm going to pop them in the oven so that it gives them a bit of extra sterilisation to make sure they're absolutely sterile. And also, when you pour the hot jam into the jars, they're less likely to crack or anything terrible like that to happen if they're warmed up slightly. So they're going into the oven. I'm going to set the timer for another 10 minutes. I'm also putting a plate into the fridge, so you've got a cold plate, so I can test if the jam's set after another 10 minutes. So I'll come back to you then. Okay, another 10 minutes has passed, and this is the plate that I had in the fridge. And the way that you test if the jam's going to set is by taking a little bit of it and putting it onto a cold plate, and then seeing if it runs or how much it runs when it hits the cold surface, and if a film is created across it. I think that's almost there. I've never done this before, but it's run a little bit and now it's stopping. So what I'm going to do is give this a few more minutes simmering, and then I'm going to put it into the jars. The other thing I should mention is that you can make blackberry jam, leave the fruit in the actual blackberries in the mixture, or you can sieve it to make blackberry jelly. Some people don't like the fruit they don't like fruit in their jam. They like it sort of like a jelly, which my husband's one of those people. As you can see, that's not running anymore. That's good. So I think we're there. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to take the jam jars out of the oven. No, sorry, I'm going to leave them a few more moments actually, because I'm going to sieve some of this mixture. I think I'm going to sieve half of it and see if that's enough to fill up one of the jars. I haven't done the maths. The jars are 12-ounce jars, I believe. So that looks about right. Excuse me one moment. I'll put that back over the heat for a moment. As you can see, I'm sieving that so that the jar won't have the fruit in it. I'll leave that for a couple of seconds and I'll get at least one of the jars out of the oven. I do have to be careful, obviously, not to touch it because it's going to be a bit hot. I'll leave the other two in for now. Make sure I've got all the liquid out of that fruit. I believe you can get funnels that you can use to put the jam in to make sure it doesn't go everywhere, because I'm going to be a little bit clumsy about it because I haven't got all the right equipment, but I'm improvising as this is a first attempt. So I'm going to pour this rather than straight from there into the jar. I'm going to pour it into here, into a jug first. I don't think that's going to be enough, to be honest with you. So I'm going to use a bit more. Seems a bit of a waste of blackberries to me, not putting them in, which I would prefer. So next time I make this, I'm going to leave the fruit in and I'll eat that jam. My husband can have the jelly. And these were picked today, as I said, from the local country park. Seems such a shame to waste the fruit. I know the birds enjoy the berries, but they don't eat all of them. It's so much cheaper, obviously, to pick them fresh. There we go. I'm hoping I can just about hold that. That's not too hot for me to hold. So I'm filling up a jar. Blackberry jelly. And I'm going to seal it tightly with the lid. That is a little bit hot actually. Hold it with it. So there we are. That's my blackberry jelly. I'm going to leave that to set, which hopefully it will do. Obviously, first attempt, who knows. And I'll label this that I've made this today. Today's the 25th of July. And it'll keep for up to a year, possibly even 18 months. So you can keep your blackberries going for a long time and enjoy them through jam or blackberry jelly. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Sorry.
This is the day after. This is the finished product, which I'm not going to eat for a while because I'd like to enjoy these into the winter, and that's the whole point. Jam's a preservative. So I think it was fairly successful, and I'm going to have another go in the next few weeks. And that's it. Thanks for watching.